It's going to be Man City. It's going to be Pep Guardiola. They're going to win the 7th FA Cup in about 6 years. They are going to storm this one. They're going to put Forest to the sword, a knackered Forest side, who, by the way, are probably going to slip out of European qualification.
Hello and welcome to The Numbers Game. We're going to be talking all about the FA Cup semi-finals that we are all looking forward to. So let's get straight into Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa. This is the first one of the FA Cup fixtures. And Sam, what are the interesting points that we need to bring to the fore?
Yeah, I mean, Villa marginal favourites for this one, but Palace absolutely spanked them in February 4-1, which I think, sometimes the head-to-head not even worth looking at, but they also won 5-0 last year. They're unbeaten in the last 4 head-to-head games against Villa. But in a semi-final, I think a lot of the data and the stats is off the cards. It basically comes down to who wants it more. Palace obviously got to the final in 2016, semi-final in 2022. Villa haven't gone deep in this competition since about 2015. Unai Emery is a cup expert, always goes deep in the competitions. He did it every single time for PSG, although obviously domestically that's not saying very much. But I think the only way that Palace go through this is Ismaila Sarr. He got 3 goals and an assist in 2 starts against Villa this season. And he's kind of hitting form at the right time as well, because he's scored 4 goals in his last 9, and that's half his season's tally in the last 9 games.
Do you not think Eze, though?
Eze, but obviously he's like missed a pen recently.
Yeah, he missed a pen, but since he scored that goal for England, he's basically got a goal or assist in every game since then.
Yeah,
and again, like we talk about this, he scored a goal that was marginally offside by an inch against Man City. That would have made it 3-0, fine margins. He missed a shocking penalty, admittedly, against Newcastle. That would have made it. I think it would have been 2-2 if I'm not.
But I do agree that it's
fine margins in these games, and I think Palace, they are out of form if you look at the last 3 games. But if you look at the last 15 games, they've been on an absolute tear. And I think the Wembley effect is a massive, massive part of this. I think they'll be 100% fit and firing. And like we mentioned, Villa won't have that whole end 12th man effect that have carried them through the season.
But those fine margins, I think they cascade and they add up, and then they change a player's form. Like, he gets that goal for England, then he plays well, but then now in his last 10, he's got 2 goals, 0.5 shots on target a game. Rashford's obviously starting to produce as well. He's the most likely goal scorer according to the AI, but that is if you don't count Ollie Watkins, because he'll be on the bench. Watkins coming in at 40%. So if I'm Unai Emery, I'm starting Watkins for this game.
Well, I was sure that Unai Emery would start Watkins against City and Southampton, but he's just been playing Rashford into the ground. And Rashford did look good against City, but I feel like Rashford up front, he doesn't give you that outlet that Watkins does. I think that being at Wembley might suit Palace more. Villa have actually lost 6 of the last 8 games at Wembley. And we've talked about Villa so many times, man. They play unbelievable at Villa Park, but when you take them out of that environment, they're just not the same side. And so I think Palace will fancy themselves more than the stats suggest. As you mentioned, Villa haven't beaten Palace in the last 4 attempts, and Palace actually knocked Villa out of the League Cup earlier this season, 2-1. We're recording before Palace play against Arsenal, and that might have an effect. They've got an extra day less recovery than Villa do, but I'm expecting Palace to rotate. I don't think this will be a classic by any means. Palace aren't exactly cup experts. They've never actually won a major trophy, and I'm going to go with my El Clasico on this one.
Oh, for fuck's sake, man. That one caught me off guard.
Under 4, baby.
All right, let me ask you this. Ahead of Palace play Arsenal tonight, if you're Oliver Glasner, you've drank your sparkling water this morning, you've ironed your socks.
Put your best cardio on.
What team are you picking tonight? Are you resting basically 11 players?
Well, he doesn't want to get tonked. He's already said in the interview he don't want to get spanked 5-0 because what will that do for morale? But I think you're giving like Eze half a game.
Yeah.
You're giving him a half. I think you're giving Ismaila Sarr a half, although he seems to be very fit. I think you're rotating a lot of your players, basically, yeah.
What would your picks be for this one then? Because I've got Villa to win. I do fancy Villa for it. Yeah. Basically throwing all the head-to-head and stats out the window to win 90 minutes. And I'm going to back a Rashford goal or assist. Like I say, these games are basically just vibes games.
Wow.
And Rashford is good vibes. He scored recently. He got obviously the pen against City. And I feel like that kind of thing for a player like Rashford, coming into form at the right time. He's won the FA Cup. Like, I just fancy Villa for this one. I feel like Palace have the semi-finals come at an awful time for them.
Yeah, I think Palace, they peaked too soon, didn't they? A few weeks ago, we were talking about Palace as one of the league's best informed teams, and I think since then they've been top. They've had 5 put past them by City and Newcastle. So I agree that I think Villa will qualify, but I'm not touching the result. I'm going with under 4 goals. I'm backing that John McGinn foul like I always do in big games. And I fancy both teams to receive a card as well, because I think it'll be one of them edgy games that's hard fought. So
Nice. Jason, what are you having for this one?
See, the AI has it a close game, but I think Villa, absolute favourites. That I put this as a dead certain for them. Palace are out of form, low confidence. Unai Emery Cup specialists, squad bustling with talent, and each trying to prove themselves as well.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really backing Villa with this one. I'm going to say a Villa win to 0.
Ooh.
Daniel Munoz foul and a Rashford shot on target. Crystal Palace just aren't going to be in this one. Villa are such a good side. They're, gunning for Champions League, and that's the way that I back it. And so the odds are quite good on that, aren't they, Sam?
Yeah. I mean, they're slightly shorter than they should be, but it's still not bad.
Let's move our attention then to the other game of this FA Cup weekend, Nottingham Forest versus Manchester City. And the AI has this one as almost a dead certain win for Manchester City. But I feel there's a lot of question marks in this game. Ollie, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I agree with the AI on this one. I think City win this. I think City win the FA Cup, sadly. We've all been talking about how this is the year of the FA Cup. Sparks into life. Anyone can win it. It's going to be a team who've never won the FA Cup before. Let me tell you one thing. It's not. It's going to be Man City. It's going to be Pep Guardiola. They're going to win the 7th FA Cup in about 6 years. They are going to storm this one. They're going to put Forest to the sword, a knackered Forest side, who, by the way, are probably going to slip out of European qualification. I think it'll be one of them games where it's 1-0 or 2-0, but it'll be a 75% possession. Chris Wood's just had a baby, so let me tell you one thing. He's not kipping this
As
week.
a new father.
Yeah, he's not having a good night's kip all week. He's going to rock up to Wembley with his eyes half shut, and Guardiola's going to play 8 attacking midfielders, dominate the ball, and City are going to beat them. So
that explains your work as of late then as well.
Yeah, Man City, they play at Wembley every week. They know what this is. This is Forest's FA Cup final or semi-final. Man City to qualify, under 4 goals in the game. Heard it here first.
Nice. Obviously, Forest got the better of City though earlier this season. They played once so far this season. Forest won 1-0. Every single game this season, Forest, basically their data has been worse than the other team. They're the numbers game nightmare, because every time I look at them I go, there's no way they can win that game. Spurs, right? Forest generated 0.3 XG, Spurs 2.8 XG, and Forest won 2-1. Like, it's outrageous. Obviously, you love the stat about Chris Wood. Basically, any shot he has, any touch he has, turns into a goal. I don't know if that look can carry on, but it just has done over and over again all season.
Spoiler alert, it can't.
But they did. Do you know, I've got a stat for you boys, right? Forest have gone through in the FA Cup this season 3 times on penalties. That's never happened before.
Wow, didn't know that.
And so they've proper scraped through by the skin of their teeth. I feel like they've accidentally ended up in a semi-final when they're trying to focus on the
Prem. Yeah, exactly.
And they've not been to one since 1991, where they went on to lose the final. It's only their second game at the new Wembley.
Wow.
And you know what the other one was? 2022 Championship playoff final.
Yeah, I was going to say playoff final. That's pretty crazy, to be fair. And he's some goalkeeper sells, isn't he? I think if it does go to penalties, then I do think, I don't know, it's a tough one because City have got that experience, man.
Do you know what? I'm not agreeing with you because I'm going more an actual bet rather than just a stupid catchphrase. But I'm going under 2.5 goals. Under 2.5 goals. I've got Forest to receive 2 cards because I feel like they could get a bit shirty in this one.
Yeah.
A bit frustrated. They're tired. There's going to be some tactical fouls. So I'm going to go Forest to receive 2 cards. I also have got City to qualify, but I think the odds would be pretty shy.
I don't think this game is going to be decided in 90 minutes. I can see Forest kind of having fabulous kind of defensive stop out and then, heartbreak in the extra time. So I'd probably bet on that, to Man City to qualify, but maybe the game to end as a draw in 90.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all.
Also, you've got to stick it on Marmoush to have a shot on target. He's the main man. Manchester City are going to dominate possession. They're going to dominate shots. They're going to have, shots left, right and centre, draw in the 90 and then a Marmoush shot on target, because I think this is a really tough one, to call. And Nottingham Forest are just going to do what they do. Tactically, this will suit them. They like to sit back. Guardiola likes to control the ball. Spirito Santo likes to absorb pressure and play the counter. It's not as easy as I think the AI is saying it. And so with this one, like I said, draw, and Marmoush shot on target.
So
I
we're
like it.
basically all in agreement that it's going to be a City Villa final. Although Ollie, you were kind of maybe thinking Palace might get something
No, I think Villa. I think
Okay.
Villa will qualify, but I think it will be
closer than
another,
we think,
real
closer than
close.
we're making out.
Yeah,
So,
one goal in it. Kind
City
of thing.
Villa final then. City walk that all day, don't they?
Yeah, I think so.
That's what's a real shame. We were so close to someone that's either never won the FA Cup before or a first win in 50 years, and instead we're going to get 7th.
I think
FA Cup.
Erling Haaland will be back, and I think Villa will be fighting for top 5. City will have already cemented top 5, and
It's Villa away from Villa Park. They've just got beaten
Yeah.
at the Etihad.
they'll be knackered by then because Unai Emery, for all the attacking depth he's got, he seems to play the same players over and over again. I really fancy City to win the FA Cup this year.
I don't think it's a dead cert for Manchester City in that final. Villa can, surprise them on the day, and I hope to goodness, that the AI and everything isn't right, that they go on to win at Manchester City. But I think we've covered everything for this weekend. We've got all the talking points, and just remember to hit that subscribe button, like the video, share it as well, because we all like to share the winnings here. It's not about selfishness. We're about spreading those wins. And there's some great memberships as well, and some opportunities for winning, not just in terms of the bets, but also some prizes that the Numbers Games run as well. So head over to the website, numbersgame.uk, hit that subscribe button, and make sure to look at our Premier League preview for this game week 34 as well.